Show. I got a great millionaire guest for you, my man, Jeff Lerner. This guy has done tens of millions of dollars in e-commerce online, but really he's just got an amazing entrepreneurial journey that has transitioned and led him into building what has really become a juggernaut in the e-learning space. So he started off making lots of money doing, marketing newsletters, affiliate sales, e-commerce, but now he's transitioned into disrupting the education space. And we're starting to see a lot of platforms like his really gain steam and momentum as more and more people come online, as more and more people second guess whether or not going to the 4-year traditional college and pursuing that path and route really makes sense for them to be successful, to be fulfilled, to make money, to live the lifestyle that they want. E-learning is just blowing up, and that is right in stride with Jeff's company. And he talks a lot about his entrepreneurial journey in today's episode, which I know you guys are going to enjoy and find some great inspiration. And we dug into the 3 Ps of excellence. One of the concepts that I really enjoyed, and I think you guys are going to get a lot of value from, is this idea around digital real estate, digital assets, and how this is kind of becoming a new, it's already been an asset class, but it is something that is now starting to hold more weight, starting to create more return, hold more investment value over the long term. And there are many different things that you yourself can create in terms of digital real estate that can pay you for many years and decades to come. So we dug into that. We talked about how he really used the 3 Ps of a framework that helps him keep his life and business and income in balance. We talked about being emotionally bulletproof, and he was in a deep, dark depression for many years, and how he kind of pulled himself out of that, pulled himself out of debt. And I know many people can relate to that, being in different stages of money challenges in your career, being rejected at certain things, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in your professional life, and just an overall amazing story in terms of grit and resilience. So I know you guys are going to have some fun in today's episode. Before we do, welcome to the show. We got a great one for you today. All I ask is that if you get some value from it, tag me on social media, tag our guest, share this with somebody that can get some value from it. Most importantly, all I ask is that you leave a review on whatever podcasting platform you enjoy listening to this content on, if and only if you guys get value from this. If you're new, you haven't said what up to me, shoot me a text, 844-447-1555. Know that we have all kinds of downloads, freebies, resources in the show description below if you're watching this on YouTube, or just head over to millionaireMindcast.com on Jeff's episode. All the links, anything that we talked about in the show will be in there, as well as if you text the word invest to 844-447-1555. You can get my free real estate investing course for all of you who want to take advantage of this massive wealth transfer, the opportunities that are coming in the real estate world. You can check that out for free. If you want to get a free financial x-ray to have our financial team go through your entire investment portfolio, make sure that you're not getting overcharged, making sure that your goals are aligned with where you want to be, when you want to be there by, and those investments are congruent with that, we'll do a free financial x-ray for you. Just text the word x-ray to 844-447-1555. Head over to becomethebank.info if you want more information on life insurance. And of course, all of our investor swag, the Rich Life Planner, other amazing things at therichlifestore.com. With that being said, we got a great show for you guys today. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dig into today's episode with Jeff Lerner right after this quick message from today's show sponsor. Hey guys, Matty A here, and today I'd like to talk to you about My Outdesk, the highest rated virtual assistant company in the marketplace. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're scaling a company, you know you can only do that through quality people and team members. And my buddy Daniel Ramsey at My Outdesk helps entrepreneurs and businesses do exactly that while buying back their time. And Daniel and his team at My Outdesk typically help businesses in these 4 key areas: sales, marketing, admin, and customer support. And I personally have known and worked with Daniel for almost a decade now, which has been a game changer for my business. And My Outdesk has over 500 verified 5-star reviews with 13 years of experience serving over 6,000 clients with their amazing VAs. And recently, Daniel wrote a book, Scaling Your Business with Virtual Professionals, that you can purchase this book on Amazon. But for the Millionaire Mindcast family, Daniel and I struck a deal. And if you want to get this book completely free, all you have to do is text the word Matty A to 31996. Let me repeat, that's Matty A to 31996. And let me tell you, this book has everything you need to run a successful virtual business and a fully remote global team, which in today's landscape is more powerful and needed now than ever. You can grab that free copy by texting the word Matty A to 31996.
Well, I'm excited to welcome to the show, Jeff Lerner. How we doing, brother?
Ecstatic, man. I'm better now that I'm here.
There we go. Well, I'm looking forward to catching up with you and hearing all the great things that you've been up to. You have, really covered a lot of ground. And what would you say your entrepreneurial journey has, consisted of time frame wise?
I attempted my first business when I was 16 years old, and I'm 41, so 25 years.
Nice. And what if you were to kind of highlight being the maybe most important or proud moment of your entrepreneurial journey and maybe the lowest moment of your journey, which two experiences come to light for you?
Lowest is pretty easy. I would say it was 2008. I had just failed at my roughly 10th consecutive business, depending on whether certain things fully count as a business. It could have been more than that. I mean, like, does joining an MLM count as a business? I don't know, but I failed at that too. I mean, it was an impressive string of failures, and it was a big one. In fact, I have you can see. I don't know if your audience. I think this is an audio only podcast, but down in that corner there, I have my tax return from 2008 framed on the wall. It was negative $40,000. And I had opened two franchise restaurants that year. I got, which is actually silly that they gave me enough. They gave me almost $500,000 in credit to open these restaurants, which is funny because I wasn't a piano player who'd never made more than $40,000 in a year. So it's like, that shows you how insane the banks were in 2008. But both of those stores closed in the Great Recession. I was $495,000 in debt. I was hiding from the U.S. government because they were SBA loans. So the United States Treasury that guarantees the SBA loans were the ones coming after me for about $300,000 of that debt. So I got evicted from my apartment. I was living at my soon-to-be ex-wife's parents' house. She was kind of done with me too, but I got her parents to at least take us in. Obviously, they were more concerned about her than me, but I kind of came with the deal at the time. And I mean, it was a mess. When I started my first online business at that time. And when I started, I actually changed the spelling of my last name to Lerner with an A because there were so many creditors looking for me. I didn't want to come up in Google searches at the time. So that speaks to how terrible that was. And, getting divorced and being depressed. It wasn't just a financial challenge.
Right.
It was a whole life challenge. I would say my proudest moment, I'm excited to report, is actually right now. I believe that I have finally gelled, not just am I making more money than I ever have, but I am doing what I believe is the best work that I've ever done. If you completely removed my self-interest as a business owner, and you completely remove my economic interest, and you simply said, is the work that is being done having a positive impact in the world? I am richer in that way now than I ever have been. And it just so happens to pay well too. So this is for sure my proudest moment, only to be surpassed, I'm sure, by the near future, because it's growing and going really well.
And for people that maybe don't understand what you're doing right now in the context and capacity and maybe level that you're doing it at, what would you say Jeff Lerner is up to right now here in 2021?
I am fully engaged in the disruption of mainstream education. So what that looks like is you have millions, hundreds of millions, billions of people that I believe have been underserved by traditional education. You have people graduating from colleges, the vast majority of people graduating from colleges are not doing so because they have a specific passion or calling for whatever they studied. They're doing it because it's what you do. It's what you do to get a job and to have a career and to go presumably make good money and have this sense of security in the world. And, 5, 10, 20, 30 years later, you realize, wait, I'm not on a track to retire, or I don't even particularly love what I do, or, I see all these other people that seem to have this quality of life and I don't know how to get it. They didn't teach me that. Or, man, I screwed up my credit. How is it that I spent $100,000 on my college education and nobody ever told me what a credit score is? Or, man, I have this great idea and I want to start a business, but I don't have a clue how to even go get an LLC or how to properly set up self-employment for tax purposes, or how to bring an idea to market, or how to go do research, or people are so underserved now in terms of learning how to go do the really cool stuff that's actually right there to be done in the world, but it's just not what they teach in school. And, there's a lot of, I hate this term, but there's a lot of gurus on the internet that teach you how to do affiliate marketing, or how to create your own course, or how to, run Facebook ads or whatever. But we took the approach of saying, let's actually tackle an establishment education problem with establishment style education. Let's out college the colleges. And so Entre Institute is basically my very ambitious effort to create, standardized, formalized, high quality entrepreneurial curriculum that teaches people in a way that has that sort of collegiate or university type of standard. And, there's competency, there's a rigor, there's a structure to it. It's not just another guru with a course. But we're teaching people the stuff that I think really, really matters, as measured by what quality of life does this education allow me to achieve. And that's what we're doing. And it's honestly, it's absolutely exploded. We did, year one was 2019. We sold our first course that year in July. Last year, 2020, we enrolled 60,000 students. And this year we will enroll about 250,000.
Amazing. And
paying students.
Courses across all different facets of business, investing. What are the categories?
We are building out courses right now as fast as we can, while still maintaining quality and attracting really, really high-level expert faculty. We could go out to the market and license 100 pre-existing courses, but we're not doing that. We're quality controlling and crafting and architecting all of our courses to be consistent and congruent inside of our ecosystem. We're rolling out our own software, our own entrepreneurial software that allows people to very quickly implement a lot of these online business modalities. And, whether you've got a real estate business or an insurance business, or you have no business and you just want to start a business, we're building an ecosystem that supports all of that. Last year we were really focused on, and, we can talk more about what this term means, but an MVP concept, a minimum viable product, to say, we want to deliver enough that we are fulfilling our full value proposition. And I operate on what I call a 10X value proposition. If somebody pays me $1,000, I want to deliver them $10,000 worth of value. And so last year, 2019, when we started, we were really focused on building to, an MVP, a high value MVP. And we did that last year. We really focused on 3 specific business models online, which are affiliate marketing, digital agency services, and the knowledge business, which it just so happened are the 3 businesses that I've done very successfully online. I was an affiliate marketer for 5 years. I owned a digital agency for 6 years. And now I'm in the knowledge business. I sell courses and trainings. But obviously there's a lot that we can add to that. And we are in the process of adding, courses left and right. I'd say by the end of this year, we'll probably have 10 or 15 more courses.
That's amazing. And how many are you guys partnering and pairing with different educators and experts in specific fields? Or where are the opportunities whether it's somebody being involved in your organization and or in the space of this educational disruption. We've been hearing a lot of people trying to do it for quite a long time, right? And it seems like this awakening, this consciousness of, life being different than what it's been in terms of education for so many decades. What do you see as the opportunity for either people coming into your organization or people, collaborating and working with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, people coming in as a student, the opportunity is, not to sing a Disney song, but a whole new world. Like, there's a whole what is that from Aladdin or?
Yeah, it is.
The little mouse. That's the little mouse, right? Fievel, an American Tale. So I think, but anyways, or maybe that's Aladdin. Whatever. Sorry, I go down a rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, there's this whole world out there. And look, I told you about my low point, right? 2008. I was a broke, out of work, depressed, overweight jazz piano player going through his second divorce, who in an entire decade since dropping out of school, high school, had never earned more than 40 grand in a year. And I racked up $500,000 in debt. And then I discovered this whole new world of the digital economy and, call it the new economy, the modern economy, the disrupted economy, whatever. I paid off $500,000 in debt in 18 months with affiliate marketing. Like I wasn't supposed to be able to do that. Everybody told me my life was over. Oh, you're $500,000 in debt and you're at rock bottom. Like the best you can hope to do is just go get a job. That's what they told me. But instead I found there's this whole new world that clearly none of these people know about because they weren't taught about it in school because they put all their eggs in the basket of what did I learn in school? And fortunately, I was enough of a misfit and a rebel that I was willing to go looking for another way and found, oh, wow, I just paid off $500,000 in 18 months. Okay, what do I do now? And then I just, kept going. And 5 years later, I made $10 million in commissions as an affiliate marketer. And I'm like, well, okay, I guess, I kind of get the last laugh here. Now what? And I started an agency and we scaled that agency. And I got obsessed with learning how to build businesses and scale businesses and focus on marketing and direct response and how to convert customers and how to build products and deliver great services. And, there's this massive world out there. So that's the opportunity on the student side. And we obviously break that down into its, constituent parts. And one of the big things that we do, I think, different than everybody else, is we have a process that's basically discover, plan, implement. So essentially, we start with everyone going through a discovery process. And one of the mantras we say a lot in our company is that a prescription without a diagnosis is malpractice. So most online education programs, you get in there and they'll tell you, we sell Shopify or we teach Shopify stores. We teach drop shipping. And if you want to change your life and you want to brighten your future and you want to live on a beach somewhere, you need to be a drop shipper. It's one size fits all, right? They're giving you a prescription. They don't know the first thing about you. And so we do it different. We take people through a discovery process. We have them work with an advisor who says, okay, what are your interests? How much time do you have? How much resources do you have? But monetarily, energy, what time do you get up in the morning? Does your spouse support what you're doing? Do you have a job where you need to build a business in secret because you'll get fired if they find out you have something on the side? Like, we need to know everything about you before we can help you know what the right way to go is online. And there's so many opportunities that isn't prohibitive, that nobody's excluded from the opportunity, but it's pretty helpful to try to craft the opportunity for people rather than just shove everybody into whatever I happen to have done successfully at some point, right? Which is what most of these authority guru people do. And then as far as collaborating with us on the curriculum side, yeah, we go out and we find category experts and we work with them to develop custom curriculum for our students that all has to function within our ecosystem, because we don't just give people courses. We have programs to coach people on the courses. If you want to get more hands-on help, we have group environments where people can collaborate and build businesses. Again, this is more about doing it university style. There's a lot more that happens on a university campus than just showing up and taking a class, right? There's tutors, there's study groups, there's just more of an ecosystem, more of an environment for success, or in that case, an environment for delinquency and partying and getting drunk. I mean, we don't have that part, but we do try to create an environment to support the whole initiative, not just courses, because, you and I both know that online courses are a dime a dozen. There's a million people that watch these videos and they glaze over, and they got Facebook open on their phone while they're watching the course. They're not paying attention, and certainly they're not implementing and getting any results. And so we want to address that too. We have a whole process behind our courses that focuses on implementation, where we lead the horse to water. I wouldn't say we can make you drink, but we can try to push your head down in the water a little bit. And we can certainly make sure that there's clean, fresh water to drink. And we can tell you how good the water is and how happy you'll be if you'll just do the work to drink the water. And right up to the point of making you drink the water is how far we'll take it. Because I got so 2 years ago or 3 years ago when I started this, I had just sold my agency. I was 39 years old. I basically was like, okay, am I going to retire, or am I going to go teach people how to do what I've done? And I said, if I was going to teach people how to do what I've done, which is use this new economy to create a completely different quality of life than I was ever expected to have, I was going to do it right. And I wasn't just going to create a battlefield of casualties of people who buy online courses and don't get results, because I already know that I've been through enough online courses to know that's how most of them go. And most online course Facebook groups, will have 30,000 members and only 400 of them are active, because the other 29,600, got frustrated and quit a long time ago because they didn't get the results. And usually a lot of times it's their fault. They didn't do the work, but there just wasn't there's a lot more to education than just giving people knowledge.
Right.
Right. So
knowing what you know and seeing kind of the ecosystem from a 30,000 foot view, where do you think the most exciting opportunities are at with kind of the experience and the wisdom that you've gained that other people might be able to glean some knowledge or maybe a spotlight in terms of what breadcrumbs, might be worth following down the trail?
So when I started Entre 2.5 years ago, so September 2018, I mean, we're recording this, it's February 2021, right? Jeez.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So that's 2.5 years, 29 months ago is literally when this was just a twinkle in my eye. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And one of the things I set out to do very intentionally on day one was I'm going to build Entre the way that I will teach people to build a business, assuming that most people come into this, they don't have a lot to invest, or maybe they have a nest egg that they've worked 20 years to save up, but they're not quite ready to go dump it all into some new crazy business venture, right? So let's assume that I'm on a budget. Let's assume that I don't have all the, certain pre-existing skills. And at the time I was an unknown person online. I had 600 Instagram followers that were just basically my friends and family. I had a YouTube channel that I'd had for 7 years that I think I had posted 2 videos to, and I had 24 subscribers. I had no Facebook page. So I didn't have any momentum going into this as a brand. I had owned a B2B digital agency, but that doesn't get you any street cred, right? And I sold that. So, and I had money, but I wanted to build this in a laboratory experiment the same way that I would teach a brand new person to build it. And, the fact that we're 120,000 customers later, and we're probably the fastest growing education company in the world, means clearly what I did worked, right? So would it be a reasonable answer to your question to just tell people what I did?
Please.
So basically what I did was I started putting a ton of content out on the internet. I went absolutely bananas creating video content. And, again, is this an audio only podcast?
No, it's video. So people can see it. And just so you know too, I think there's no detail that is not worthwhile for anybody, knowing that, people are coming at this from all different levels of experience and wealth.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, so then if it's video only, then your audience can see how devastatingly handsome I am. and that clearly that was my natural advantage in making video content, right? Not, haha. It was just going kind of bananas, putting myself out there. And I didn't have any advantage, and I didn't have any traction, and I didn't have any existing momentum or credibility. In fact, what I had on day one was a lot of people telling me to go away, shut up, you're an idiot, get out of my feed, I don't like you.
How'd you overcome that? Because I know that's one thing before people even do that and get to the get out of my feed, you're an idiot, I hate you, right? They're already losing the battle up here and they never even get started. What do you say to those people? How did you overcome that? And not only to get started, but to actually continue just pounding the sand every single day with consistent content?
Yeah, I've done a lot of therapy in my life. I like therapy. I like personal development. I like getting better. But therapy only works when it's really hard. You can go into a therapist's office 100 times and talk about your day and talk about what's going on and even talk about your challenges and even be really introspective and get to know thyself, and not a damn thing changes. Because as my therapist says, insight isn't therapy. Experience is therapy. There are only 3 things that can rewire somebody cognitively. They are trauma. They are some sort of deeply like spiritual or existential. I mean, they're just, some people just have these things where they're like the road to Damascus, right? Like something comes over them and they're just a different person, but you can't really plan for those. Or you can go through a process called cognitive restructuring that's just really, really damn hard work. And it's emotional and it's visceral and it's gut-wrenching and it's exhausting. And I've been through enough therapy to know if it's not really hard, it doesn't change you. Mm-hmm. And my therapist has told me for a long time, he said, Jeff, you and Jacqueline, who's my wife, of every patient I've ever had, you guys are at the top, if not the top of patients that are willing to do the hard work. That's why therapy's been so rewarding for me. Is like, I will go in and I will cry. I will strip myself down emotionally because I want to get better more than I want to be safe. Mm-hmm. And so when I went online, I framed it as just more therapy. And I was like, it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. I'm going to want to quit. And that's exactly how I know that it's good for me.
Love it.
And it was all of those things. I grew up with a genetic condition. I grew up being bullied. I grew up being told that I was retarded. I grew up being called all kinds of names. I grew up dealing with enough hate as we use the term now, haters, to know that the best thing that I could possibly do would be to finally, for once in my effing life, get emotionally bulletproof. I was 39 years old. I didn't have financial problems anymore. I had a beautiful family that loved me, but I still had a scared, wounded little boy inside that was fed up, and it was just time. And so I was excited to do it, even if it didn't even work. And every time the hate came at me, my wife, she would remind me, this is exactly what you signed up for. In fact, you were excited about this. Yep. Now in the moment, maybe you're not so excited, but you were excited about this. And if you'll stick it through, there's good stuff on the other side of it, whether it makes any money or not. And she was right. And honestly, to this day, even if Entre had never made $1 and never enrolled a student, I would still be grateful for the experience.
Love it.
Because I have finally learned that sticks and stones can break my bones, but words cannot hurt me, especially when they come from loser keyboard warriors who live in their parents' basement at 52 years old.
So you were bootstrapping. You decided, I'm going to commit to, you got a clear plan, right? You started putting out crazy amounts of content, and it wasn't overproduced, over-engineered content, right?
It was all made with this, right? Although it was an older version of this. It was all made with my phone. For a year, I shot a video, at least one video every day. I did about 400 videos in my first year. They were all anywhere from 5 to 15 or 20 minutes, maybe. Did them all on my phone. Did a lot of them in my car. Some of them I did walking around my backyard, my front yard. The neighbors started to think I was kind of weird because I'd be walking around filming myself in the street. And I just started talking. I just started talking about my life, talking about stuff. I didn't even have a product to sell. So, and this is the strategy. There's a formula here. I'm not just telling you my personal experience. I'm telling you something I did very intentionally from day one because I saw Frank Kern doing it. If you're familiar with Frank Kern, brilliant digital marketer, who I know from previous experience and some connections to him indirect, like people, I know people who know Frank, like he's the last guy in the world that wants to put himself out there on social media and be making videos. So if he was doing it and I watched how he was doing it, I was like, whatever he's doing, knowing that it's not his personal cup of tea, there's got to be a strategy to it. And I watched what he did, and he was just putting videos out. And he actually did it a little differently. He did have calls to action and stuff that he was selling, but it was very loose, very indirect, very soft, very topical. Like he'd be talking about his kids, or he'd be talking about going to dinner with his wife, or he'd be talking, and sometimes he'd talk about marketing, sometimes he'd talk about business, but it was this whole gamut of like sharing all facets of Frank. And so I just started sharing all facets of Jeff. I like to work out. I talk about fitness. I love therapy. I love relationship theory. I'd talk about marriage. I'd talk about communication. Sometimes I'd talk about sales. Sometimes I'd talk about marketing. And through this exercise, a few things were happening. One, I was just getting confident, right? And I was getting momentum, and I was getting a pace of production where it's kind of like going to the gym. It's hard at first, but you go 30 days in a row, then it starts to feel weird when you don't go. Mm-hmm. Well, it got to where it started to feel weird if I wasn't producing content, right? Like it'd be 4:00 in the afternoon and I'd be like, babe, I haven't even shot a video today. I got to go outside, right? And my kids were like, what is dad doing? He's trying to be like an influencer or something. Doesn't he know he's too old for that? Like I kind of started to have some fun with it. But as I was putting myself out there over and over and over, I was starting to create these conversations and these angles and test out different messages. And really within it emerged my brand, my values, my mission. Who the hell am I? And what conversation do I really want to have in this world that matters and they can get traction in the market? That's a commercially viable conversation. And what emerged for me from this cloud of Jeff was the entrepreneurial conversation with an emphasis on education, skill acquisition, but a context of holistic life excellence. I kind of developed this language around what became, and I didn't like sit down and plan this. It just one day I just kind of said, it's like the 3 Ps: physical, personal, and professional, right? And suddenly I was like, ooh, that was good, right? And now it's like what I'm known for. People hashtag Jeff Lerner 3 Ps, right? Like physical, personal, and professional. And this word excellence emerged. Like, what do I really care about? What do I want to stand for in this world? Excellence. I'm tired of just all the lame, all the average, all the settling, all the people that want more than they have, but don't want to do more than they do. Like, and this word excellence, physical, personal, and professional excellence. And next thing I knew, I had a mission statement: empowering people to achieve physical, personal, and professional excellence through entrepreneurial education. Before I even had a name, I had a mission. And the whole time I was getting feedback from the market. There was like certain videos I would put out would get like 14 views and no comments. Other videos I would put out would end up getting shared 2,000 times. They'd get 250,000 views, and they'd have a comment thread, 1,100 comments. And I go, oh, okay, people liked that, and they ignored that, right? And by the way, the videos that people like are also the videos that the haters hate. And the videos that people ignore are also the videos that the haters ignore. So like you can't have one, you can't have your meat without your bread, right?
There's
like
always that duality, right?
Yeah. And so that was the exercise. And so then I was like, okay, this is working, but I need to speed this up because I want more feedback and I want more audience of just people listening, not people buying, because I didn't even have anything to sell. It's just people listening. So I started boosting the videos. Like I'd put a video out and I'd go spend like $25 or $50. And finally I got to where I was like, I'm getting such good feedback. And I knew that because I know what to do with the feedback. I know what to do with an audience as a marketer. I started putting $100, $200 into a video. So, full disclosure, I did this whole thing on a budget. In the first year, I spent about $25,000 boosting videos. And that's the only money I ever outlaid to build this business. I never spent $1 on advertising that didn't produce a profit right away. I mean, obviously I pay for ads, but it's good. It's good money out if it produces an immediate return, right? But I didn't I dumped $500,000 into my business before I saw a profit. No, I spent 25 grand boosting videos just to accelerate the process of getting feedback from the market, of figuring out what were the points of traction, what were the messages that landed, who was watching, what's the demographic data of the people watching. YouTube and Facebook will kind of tell you like more men than women, more 45 plus than 25 under, and that was useful for me. And so I did all that for a year. And finally, after almost a year, I was like, okay, I know what the market wants from Jeff Lerner. And I know who Jeff Lerner needs to be in the market. I know who Jeff Lerner wants to be in the market. And so I locked myself in a hotel room and I shot a course in 1 week. I edited the whole thing myself on Camtasia. And 2 weeks after I locked myself in that hotel room, I had a course called the Entre Blueprint. That's my basic foundation of how to become an entrepreneur in the new economy. The first 3 modules are the fundamentals, are what I call the foundation series. It's the foundation of just becoming entrepreneurship worthy. You have to raise your life game to a certain standard before you even have a right to step on the field of entrepreneurship. And then the second section, the next 3 modules, were specific business models that I had done in my life that I had results with, and how I was able to parlay them into positive outcomes, and how I connected them into kind of a framework for how to grow and scale a business long term. Anyway, so that was the course. But I already knew that the course was going to win because I'd spent a year getting all this feedback from the market, and I just knew exactly what they wanted to hear. So I came out of the gate strong. At that point, I've got a course, I've got an audience, I have a Facebook pixel with 2 million people in it that have watched my videos for at least 10 seconds over the last 11 months that cost me $25,000 to generate, which, by the way, is 1.25 cents per lead. Compare that to generating an email list at $3 to $5 a lead, right? So I came out of the gate hot late July 2019, running ads to 2 million person audience that already knew who I was, with a course that was built around messaging that I already knew they liked. That's how you scale. That's how you blow something up with confidence. And, by the end of that year, we were selling, a few thousand courses a month. Like I said, we did 60,000. Probably by the end of that year, we were selling 1,000 courses a month. 2020 is when I really stepped on the gas, sold 60,000 of that course. And now we've built other courses. That's an entry course. We built other courses. We built more advanced courses. We have a coaching program. Once you get traction, it's fun to build on top of it. What the problem most entrepreneurs have is they never get that first win that makes it all seem, it kind of validates the whole effort, right? But I took the time before I even started to create the environment where that win was assured. And I did it virtually for free. People say, oh, he spent $25,000. I could have done it without the $25,000. It probably would have taken twice as long.
Right.
I knew what I was doing. But whether it's $500 or $1,000 or $25,000 or no dollars, anybody can put content out to the market, test out different messages, get feedback, figure out what the market resonates with, who they want to be, and ultimately take that information back and either create a product or provide a service or find a product and become an affiliate. There's a lot of ways to monetize it once you know what the market wants from you.
Right. And how big do you feel this opportunity is, moving forward? I know a lot of people feel like, I'm behind the 8 ball, or I'm too late to the game, right? And from your experience and just being an expert in this space, what does the timeline and trajectory look like in terms of the opportunity here in this particular context?
Yeah, there's people that told me I was too late. And I told them that they don't know what they're talking about because, it's like, this is so new, man. I mean, if COVID has done anything, it's just shine a light on how far we still have to go. Because they were telling me that it was too soon pre-COVID or it was too late pre-COVID. Like, oh, the internet's saturated. The internet's not saturated. Give me a break, man. Like, what? 14% of all advertising now is digital. People are still buying. I mean, 14%. Where's the world going to be when it's 30%? Where's the world going to be when it's 50? Where's the world going to be when it's 98% digital? Like, this is going to suck up millions, hundreds of millions. At least I would say at least tens of millions of people are going to become bona fide millionaire, like upper wealthy class people because they hop on the train of the digital economy. And, all the time that that's happening, there's going to be the gaggle over there saying, oh, you're all too late. You're all idiots. And, that's what they said to me. They said that to me 10 years ago. I remember when I told my buddy that I was like, I think I know how I'm going to do this. Like, I started making some money and I think I can pay off this $495,000 in debt. And this was in 2009. I said, I'm becoming an internet marketer. And he said, yeah, that sounds like a scam. Plus, I think there's people already doing it. Okay, we're not friends anymore, but he still works for a living.
Yep. Now, I know you've talked about, we've been talking digital, and anytime you say digital and real estate in the same sentence, my ears go up. And I know, digital real estate is something that you are big on. There's a return there. Obviously, there's a method to your madness. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So this is another term that just sort of materialized through the repetitions of the conversation. It's not like I sat down and said, okay, let me create this little master plan of who I am and what I talk about. It just emerged organically. And that's one of the reasons it's been so successful, because people can go back. Like, I tell people to do this stuff, and even your audience, go to my Facebook page and scroll all the way back through the videos. You have to go through like 1,000 of them, and you'll see on September 19th, 2018, when I had my little nervous breakdown and I made a video called Let's Get Extreme, and this whole thing started. Like, it's right there. You can see the whole evolution, right? And through those conversations, this concept of digital real estate emerged. And, I'm a marketer, so my radar is kind of always up for finding these little hooks and these little like linguistic kernels or almost memes that can get attention. And this term digital real estate, I knew it was a home run when it came out of my mouth, but it's like so simple. It's basically, because you're always trying to differentiate yourself from the market, right? As any business, like, why should somebody do business with you and not the next guy? Look, there's 100,000 people online that are teaching business on the internet, right? So if you go size all of them up, what you find is that the vast majority of them are using short-term thinking, and they're appealing to this immediate gratification kind of dopamine psychology of like, hey, come buy my course, and in 60 days, we're going to have you set up. You're going to have a business. You're going to be making good money. And I'll show you how to make $1,000 a day on Instagram, work in 30 minutes, right? First of all, that just sounds like if you, in the comfort of your own room with no one around, you might say yes to that. But if there were like 100 people watching, you would be like, oh, that sounds like, you would be embarrassed to say yes to that, right? And so, it's a joke, it's laughable, but you do it because it's just like TV advertising. It hooks the dopamine in your brain and you're like, oh, good, let me get a shot of that internet crack, right? It's all like so scammy and spammy. So I said, screw short-term thinking. Fast up, fast down is like an adage in business. You wouldn't want to build something that fast. You shouldn't want to make money without doing work. You shouldn't want to acquire what you haven't earned. It's like winning a lottery. It's going to be gone in 2 years. That history, the data shows if you win the lottery, it'll be gone in 2 years. If you figure out how to make Instagram for $1,000 a day for some BS thing that you don't even know what you're doing because you followed some guru's hack formula, that's not a real business. You can't go borrow money against that, right? You can't sell it with a business broker. Right. Like, we should want to build stuff that's real.
Yep.
And so let's apply real estate thinking, which for me means two things. I'm going to deploy cash and I expect to generate a return on my cash that's measurable, that's predictable, that can be, where I can apply things like cap rates or return on investment or discount rates, or at the very least, like a ROAS formula, return on ad spend or something, right? It should have real business fundamentals, and there should be an underlying asset that can appreciate in value over time, ideally by either leveraging someone else's capital or by reinvesting the returns from the asset so that I'm not having to constantly put money in to grow wealth. You're a real estate guy, right? That's real estate. Okay.
Yeah, you speak my language.
So what if we apply that thinking to internet business and say, okay, we will now only consider online business models that adhere to that standard, where I can build an underlying asset that grows with some sort of multiplier or exponential factor beyond just the money that I'm putting in, that I could sell someday, that there could actually be an exit event. And there needs to be a quantifiable, predictable, cash on cash return formula in the interim. And that's it. It's not fancy, but for some reason we get on the internet, and because of the nature of the internet, and it's all, immediate gratification and everything happens so fast. And we just the internet we associate with speed. Like, it all happens so fast. I can look up, instead of having to go to the library, I can get any fact I want to know in 3 seconds with a Google search. So then we get on there, and our business brain, all sound business principles go out the window. And we're like, oh, well, I should be able to make money fast. And who cares if there's an underlying asset, right? Because it's all a game anyways, and I'm going to make millions of dollars before anybody realizes that it's all hot air. No. Let's start approaching this like it's real business, real assets, real fundamentals, like it's real estate.
I love
That's
that.
digital real estate.
If you were to, when you think of your favorite digital real estate asset that maybe you've created, bought, got a great return off of, what comes to mind?
A simple example that everybody can kind of immediately wrap their minds around is my YouTube channel. I've taken 29 months to grow my YouTube channel. Right now it produces about $100,000 a year in ad revenue. So whether I sell anything or not, whether I monetize it any other way, whether I have affiliate products, whether I sell my own products, totally separate from any of that, YouTube sends me $100,000 a year. They're going to send me about $8,000 this month.
Love it.
Off of a channel that took me 29 months to build. Right. And by the way, that number is increasing 20 to 30% a month. So by the end of this year, it'll probably be producing $15,000 a month. Just that alone is something people can immediately wrap their heads around. How much real estate, how much money would you have to put into real estate, or how much other capital would you have to leverage into real estate to have an asset that predictably produces 6 figures a year in completely free, guaranteed, secure, zero expense cash flow? You can't even do that with real estate.
No, there's some aspects of, and partly why I transitioned at least a pillar of my brand and my business outside of just brick and mortar real estate assets was for that exact reason. The scalability, the efficiencies, and really just the overall ground and effectiveness you can have and cover in the digital economy. Like you said, there's nothing like it, right?
There isn't. Yeah, it's a unicorn.
It is
a historical anomaly.
Yeah. And and especially just knowing where the trends are going. I'm a millennial. I look at, a lot of the younger generations behind and below me, they're not looking at anything but the digital economy.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're not serving that marketplace, that customer, and finding ways of incorporating and leveraging a trend and a platform and a tool that is only going to exponentially grow and compound over time, you're missing a big opportunity. So I love what you have done, and so many of the amazing businesses that you've created, not only what you've created, but also how you've gone about sharing it and making an impact and creating opportunities for others in that wake. And I know a lot of people are going to want to know more about what you guys have going on at Entre and all the amazing stuff that they can learn. And I'm curious, do you see a lot of people coming in because they actively want to build and do it themselves? Do you see any other people? Like for me, I'm going, who could I put through one of those courses and partner with them to create a passive business or income stream for? What do you see in terms of, that context?
Yeah. I mean, as far as creating passive assets, you know, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what the real estate principle is like you do the work, you acquire, first of all, you source the property, you bird dog, you acquire, you renovate, you improve, you refinance, like whatever. The work happens in the first year, 2 years, 5 years. And it's eventually you just have this asset that you can sell, you can camp on, you can refinance. That's kind of how the internet works. I mean, so for me, like I mentioned, I'm still in the active working phase. I like doing the work. I enjoy it. I mean, I think as human beings, we're meant to work, and I'd rather work on this than, dig ditches or cook French fries. So, but even already, for example, I've got an email list of over 1 million people. I can just send offers to my list. It would take me maybe an hour a day to write a really good email and find a good offer that I believed in. Now, this isn't what I do because I'm building my own products, but I could already just retire and be like, okay, this is passive. I got a 1 million person email list, and I could probably generate $3 to $5 million a year easily in an hour a day, just riding that list. So it's like, it's already there. I just like the work too much. And more than that, I believe in the mission. I think there's a lot of work to be done. But for people that want to kind of go through and create something passive, well, go through just like I'm doing and just like I teach people to do the work. Maybe it takes 1, 2, 3, 5 years, build these digital real estate assets that you can continue to monetize for the rest of your life and that you can leave to your kids. That's a huge piece of it for me, is generational legacy. Why build something that disappears when you die, right? Or if you just want to learn, if you truly want passive, like let's say you're, and I know like there's a lot of like rich doctors out there, they work 14 hours a day in their medical practice. They got $7 million in the bank that they want to do more interesting things with and just give to some guy at Edward Jones who may make 6% or whatever. Look, you can acquire digital businesses. There are digital real estate assets, that's the term I would put on them, that you can go buy. And they come with lists, and they come with social media presences, and they come with financials. They're just like a piece of real estate. They just happen to exist in the fourth dimension, if you will. And if you come through our training, maybe you don't even want to build what we teach, but you can learn what we teach so that you can go out and vet assets for acquisition purposes. That's what I would say.
I love it.